I'm so excited to announce this new series, which is all about mindset. October to me is all mindset. We're starting our 30 days of mindset together. So, who best to start mindset with Mr. Mindset himself, Mr. Peter Sage? I'm so happy to have you.
Sonia, always a pleasure. Absolute delight to come and speak to you and your tribe and on a subject that's going to make such a difference to them as well.
So let's go right into it. For you, mindset it's a huge pillar of what you speak about, right? You coach, everyone on the planet and have such epic courses, but why mindset? Why mindset so important?
Well, let's call it a spade a spade. We can only experience life. And where do you experience it from? You experience it from consciousness. Where is consciousness? Consciousness is your mindset. So in other words, another way of saying that is people spend their entire life living inside their head. So why not make it a nice place to live?
Yes. So, what I find is so interesting in coaching is I find that people are so willing to take out money, to take out their card and to pay for anything to do with return on investment, scaling their business, all of the hardcore business, personal branding. But when it comes to mindset, they forget that that's the number one investment they should actually make. So why is it so important to actually start with that first?
Again, everything comes from mindset. All actions are preceded by thought. Case closed. You cannot take an action unless you first have the thought of that action to take. So therefore, if you are going chasing a result, stop chasing the result and start chasing the cause of that result, which is the right mindset, the right thinking. We could give example after example of people who had all of the right outer stuff. They were born in the right place, the right time, the right parents, the right economic situation, went to the right schools, had the right credit cards, whatever it is, and did absolutely nothing because they were afraid to live. They were addicted to certainty. They were too worried about what other people think, the good opinion of other people, as I call it. They lived a life of complete unfulfillment when all they ever had to do was change their thinking, and their entire life would change. Not the outer circumstance, that's always going to change. We live in a time where it is inherent as part of the game to experience challenge and opportunity. That's humanity. Now, if you're going to focus on the challenges and take a victim mentality, that has nothing to do with the challenge. That's everything to do with the position. So whether the glass is half full or half empty, it doesn't change the volume of the glass. It only reflects your perspective of it. So why not work on understanding what is the mindset that's going to set you up to win for a life of fulfillment rather than rob you of your potential and put you into a self-styled horror movie?
I love that. Let's talk about when, we also follow people or look at speakers and say, yeah, must be nice, right? But tell me a time when you were completely stuck. When was the time where your mindset was completely off? You didn't have a good life. What was the hardest moment that you feel that you were like, I'm almost ready to tap out?
I mean, we all have our moments. And it's I'll get situational specific in a moment, but when it comes to understanding that as a human being, we are designed to experience the entire range of emotions. We live through our emotions. We experience through our emotions, through our feelings. That's what it is to experience. In fact, the only thing we can experience is the act of experiencing. Right? If you want to really drill it down. But it's not about trying to avoid them. It's not about having a perfect life. It's about where do you live versus where do you visit. And if you live predominantly in joy, peace, happiness, excitement, bliss, and occasionally visit sadness or grief or anxiety or depression or stuckness, then that's a very different life to somebody who lives in unhappiness and occasionally visits a smile. Two different lives. So it's not about avoiding. It's about how do you build a mindset about where do you live versus where do you visit. And there's been certain situations, even as people who are seen to be top of our game, which is only ever a perception. Of course, there are certain times where we get stuck because you should always be learning to grow. If you are excellent in year 7 in school and you now know all the answers to all the questions in year 7, it's time to go to year 8. Well, guess what? The questions are harder. They're meant to be. It's by design. But so many people think, okay, I've got my life figured out right now. Nobody breathe, don't sneeze, nobody move because I've got it all figured out. Well, no, that means you're you've mastered the year in Earth school that you're in. It's time to go higher, and we grow through challenge. So times for me personally, I mean, to be fair, the only time in the last 15 years I can actually say that I would visit what would be close to what I call depression, and it was momentary, was actually in a relationship that I was exceptionally unhappy in. And for me, a guy, from a masculine perspective, and I don't want to get into gender conversations here, but if we call masculine and feminine, right, it doesn't necessarily have to be man and woman these days, but, you can have some naturally masculine women and some naturally effeminate men. But, for core identification, a masculine guy lives for lighting up his woman. Yeah, that's what gives us a sense of purpose in a relationship, to be able to light up our lady. And I was with a girl who taught me a lot in many respects, because you can be an example or a warning, but both are lessons, right? And if your ex was a guy who was a serial cheater, or your dad was unfaithful to your mom, and you're carrying that stuff, then that's your deal. It's not the deal of the person you're with. And I'm a naturally outgoing kind of guy, but everything I was doing, I was being shut. I was putting into a smaller and smaller box. And I remember that vividly, walking back I had groceries, 2 bags of groceries in my hand, and I literally just dropped them on the floor and walked to the car and sat down and thought, almost learned helplessness. I try this, I'm upset. I tried that, I'm upset. I tried it, there's no way out. And I felt trapped. I felt upset. And it lasted to a point where I actually got on the phone to a top clinic in Birmingham called the Priory, which is, deals for a lot of the superstars that get all depressed and whatever, like out of whack. I think what actually brought me to my senses was how much they charge for a week to stay in there, to be fair. But
I'm not that bad. On a second, I'm not that bad.
No, actually, I'm feeling better already, But it actually made me have a lot of empathy for people that don't know how to get out of that situation. And that's when I realized the gift in that was actually allow me to visit somewhere that I can help people from a place of understanding, not from a place of judgment. But for me, it was all about being able to understand contrast. Contrast frames are one of the most powerful tools that we can use, and most people use them destructively. It's like buying a gun and pointing it at your own head, right? And what I mean by contrast frame is our brain is designed to give meaning by matching it to something we know and comparing it against something we don't know. So if you see a parking lot full of 100 white cars and there's one red car, your brain's going to be drawn to the red car because by contrast, it stands out. And great example is if you go to work and you get called into the office, and your boss turns around on Monday and says, "Hey, Sonia, we've been monitoring your work for the last 3 months. We've been very impressed. This temporary contract you're on, and you woke up that morning not knowing if the boss was going to fire you or if you're going to get extended or whatever, and says, everybody loves you. Your work is on point. We've been so glad you're an asset. We're actually going to give you a permanent contract and a 10% pay rise." Now you walk out of the office feeling pretty good, right? You had uncertainty in the morning, and now you have certainty of a job and a pay rise. You're feeling over the moon, and you're showing up, big smiles, everyone's happy. Then at lunchtime, you're in the canteen and you're talking to your coworker, Robert, and he seems pretty happy too. And he kind of does the same job as you. And say, "Hey, Robert, you're having a good day." Say, "I'm having a great day, Sonia. Guess what? Boss called me into the office today, unexpected, sat me down, said I was doing a great job, gave me a permanent contract and a 25% pay rise." Now you're like, well, now you're not feeling so good. Now you're like, now you had nothing before, but now you only have an extra 10%. Bob got 25. Now I'm complaining. So you're contrasting it not with the 0 you had, but with the 25, the extra 15 you don't have. Now you're choosing to feel bad. Most people are focusing on feeling upset because they're contrasting it with something that they think is better, rather than contrasting it with something they can be grateful for that they have that isn't as bad.
Oh, hi, social media.
Hello, yeah. We know social is not the life you have; it's the life you want everybody else to think you have.
And how much you imagine if that's the first thing that you feed yourself in the morning? How many of you that are going to watch this, can you say that every single morning you wake up and this is the first thing that you put into your mind?
Yeah,
right.
No,
the first thing that you're doing is you're strolling and you're going, but why is she having so much fun? And why is it so easy with her kids? Or how come he is in a brand new relationship? Or why did he get a promotion? And all
Yeah.
of a sudden, this beautiful day of opportunity, it becomes this morning of comparison and this morning of I'm not good enough. Why not me?
Yep. And now you're coming from a place of disempowerment. Yeah, you're already on the back foot. It's like, oh, in order to be good enough, I have to go do more. Rather than realize that you were born good enough, you got nothing to defend, nothing to conquer, and nothing to prove. And from that place, you can go have fun and go create the life that you want. Yeah, and whether that's going to lead you in the same direction as some of the people you're scrolling on or not, it's almost irrelevant. But for you to turn around and compare yourself to other people's projection of what they're desperately trying to project half the time, because they're not feeling as good because they're scrolling at other people.
Yeah.
I wish I had a bike. Oh, I've got a bike. Oh, look at that car go by. I now wish I had a car. You're in a car. Oh, wow. I wish I could afford a plane.
And even people, what did people tell you, right? You start dating someone, they're like, oh my God, he's great. When are you guys getting married? And you're like, what? Then you get engaged. That's cool. So when's the wedding? You get the wedding. When's the first kid? When? So at what moment in your life can you just stand still and just be in gratitude and just wake up from a place of gratitude and just build the habits where you have complete control of your mind, you have complete control of your thoughts, and only you can create the reality, can create that blueprint that you want in your life based on your own thought process.
100%. And I'm going to share an analogy with the viewers and listeners here, because I think it's a very easy one to grasp a concept that affects so many people. And I call it the curse of the white rabbit. Yeah, and we should probably have some music sort of piped in on that one. It's like the curse of the white rabbit, like dun, dun, dun.
Made it very, very like okay.
Yeah,
add, like just make it. But it's a white rat. I don't know. All right, let's.
So the curse of the white rabbit. If you go to a dog track, and you understand the concept of a dog track, you've got greyhounds in the trap. The trap opens and the dogs run around, and the first one across the finish line, wins, and people bet on the dogs. And the reason the dogs run is because they're chasing a white rabbit, a mechanical rabbit. Now, the question is, do the dogs ever catch the rabbit?
Nope.
No. What if they run really fast?
Nope.
Nope. What if they have a better trainer than the other dogs?
No.
Have a better diet? Sleep in a better kennel? No, it's not going to happen. No, not going to happen. The dogs aren't going to catch the rabbit because by design, the dogs can never catch the rabbit. And the thing is, if you see the greyhounds at the end of the race, they are absolutely ecstatic. Why are they ecstatic? Because they got to run. It's what they're born to do. Now, most people are chasing rabbits that they are trying to catch. The rabbit of my first million, the rabbit of my first house, the rabbit of the body that I want. Now, what they're actually trying to chase is fulfillment. But the curse of the white rabbit states you can never catch the rabbit of fulfillment by running on the track of achievement. Not because you're not good enough, not because you're not smart enough, not because you weren't born on the wrong side of the train tracks, but because by design, you can't do that. In other words, when you go running after a rabbit, now it's always the rabbit. It's just that 3 inches in front of your nose, that little white fluffy tail. It's like, when I just get my next quarterly goal or my next, whatever it may be.
Then I'll be happy.
Then I'll be happy. And what happens? You catch the rabbit. A lot of the time you can set goals and achieve goals, and you're happy for about 2 weeks maximum until another white fluffy tail appears and you go off chasing that one, thinking that'll give you the fulfillment. And the reason that most people are happy for about 2 weeks is not because the goal is giving them happiness. It's because they've stopped running momentarily, but then they have that ache, that emptiness again. Now, again, can you imagine a dog at the end of the race turning around to its friends, if it could talk in dog language, and say, hey, John, ran 3 races this week, won 2 of them, still haven't caught that rabbit. I quit. There's not a market for doggy Prozac. That doesn't happen. So greyhounds are ecstatic because they got to run. That's what greyhounds are born to do, regardless of whether they catch the rabbit. Entrepreneurs build businesses because that's what we're born to do. But if we're attaching our self-worth to our net worth or the result of what happens to that business, then we are on the back foot. No amount of success will ever be enough. It'll always be another white rabbit. In other words, you break the curse of the white rabbit by realizing you already are that which you seek.
Mm.
You're already good enough. You see, now you're free to go build businesses, go get the girl of your dreams, go build the body, whatever. You're doing it because you were born to love to do that stuff. The dogs are chasing the rabbit because they were born to run, not because they're validating themselves as how good a greyhound they are by whether they catch the rabbit or not. Is this making sense?
It makes so much sense. And one thing that I speak about all the time is like, we need to enjoy that journey, right? It's the journey. It's, people think like it's my word is always today, but it's the now. It's the now. It's the right now. That's the one moment that you can be in gratitude, that you can be excited for, that you can live. It's right now. And so many people are living for the tomorrow or regretting the yesterday.
Yeah.
And they miss the action, they miss the joy, and they miss that run and learn to be so uncomfortable in this like process of feeling. But that's life, right? Like I keep telling my clients, my friends, I'm like, this is the life. No one said it was going to be easy, but through this uncomfort is where you learn. It's through stretching yourself that you get better and you go, oh my God, look at what I've achieved. Then it's these mini wins. It's not the goal. Like I'm doing a course on how to plan your month. It's phenomenal to have goals. You want to know where you're going. I always put, whether it's in your body, in your relation, everything. It's phenomenal. You need to always stretch yourself. But then it's to bring it back and go, well, what's the journey to get there? And what's the right now? What's the today?
Yeah. Totally. In fact, I'll give you a quick analogy I think people will relate to as well. And it's the analogy of the round the world trip. Yeah. And imagine you've entered a competition and you were bored online, something popped up, you filled it in, and 2 weeks later, you get an email. You won the first prize. The first prize is a all expenses paid first class round the world trip to 25 destinations over 6 months. These are the places that have been on your bucket list forever. We're talking the pyramids and Machu Picchu and Antarctica and the Northern Lights and all of the stuff that like lights you up. And it's like, it's incredible. And it's like, wow, first class, you've got first class cruise ships, first class jets, first class. And it's like the trip of a lifetime. You get to take somebody with you. So you call your best friend or your husband or whatever and say, hey, honey, guess what? We've got this round the world trip. It starts in like 2 months. It lasts for over 3 months. It's like, wow, unbelievable. And let me tell you where it's going. But before you can finish the sentence, they jump in and say, well, yeah, great. Well, what's the final destination? You're like, well, no, let me tell you about where we're going. We've got the pyramids and we've got the Northern Lights. You go, well, forget all that. Where do we end up? Well, I don't know. I just want to enjoy the trip. And so many people are looking at the trip of their life, trying to get to the end, I've got to get here. Then I'll finally, no, you've got so many incredible destinations along the way. The learning and the journey and the growth and the emotions and the people and the experiences. Now, why are you trying to invalidate and rush through all that just so you can get to the final destination of where you think you want to end up?
I love that. So let's give them some tools, right? So let's say you're watching this and you're like, yes, you're like, I'm over being stuck. I'm over waking up and not being fulfilled. I'm putting my phone down. I want this. I want to shift my mindset. I want to get into action. I want to enjoy that journey. What can they start with? How can they start?
The one thing that'll make the biggest difference is what I call a morning routine. So setting yourself up to win.
Speak our language.
Yeah.
We have not rehearsed this before. Tell us, Peter.
Well, setting yourself up to win is a key component. And I'll give you a very simple example. Yeah, we know through all the social studies that if you set your intention to go to the gym at 6 a.m. and the alarm goes off at 5:30 and you haven't put your gym kit at the side of the bed and you haven't prepared your protein shake in the fridge and you haven't got your bag ready, then you're less likely to get to the gym. But if the night before, when you're in the mood, you put your gym kit, so you swing your tired legs over the edge of the bed and you get straight into your shorts, put on your sports bra, get in your sneakers, whatever it may be, right? And you're heading down. It's a far better chance you're setting yourself up to win, right? Because the favorite definition I've had of commitment from my dear mentor, George Zalek, taught me when I was 18 years old. He said, commitment is doing the thing you said you would do long after the mood you said it in has left you.
Right? right? How many of us set our alarms the night before? I'm going to wake up. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go for my run. And then, right? So I love that. Yes.
Well, part of that is understanding that the mind's job, its primary job, it's got several jobs, but its primary job, the job it's best at, is to justify your behavior to be in alignment with your current emotional state. Mm-hmm. In other words, if you get up, that 5:30 alarm goes off, your mind's job is to come up with the perfect rational sounding excuse as to why you should press the snooze button.
Yes. Yeah.
If you're angry, it'll come up with the exact reason as to why it's perfectly okay for you not to apologize. Right? The mind's job is to justify your current behavior to be in alignment with your current emotional state. Has zero basis in truth, has zero basis in fact, actuality or high conscious, has its total basis in ego and addiction to comfort zone and the ability to sell you out on your potential. So, just understand that that's the mind's job. When you can see that, you kind of separate, you witness it. Oh, that's just what my mind does. But when it comes to a morning routine, we need to set ourselves up to win for the day. For a start, do not put your phone in the bedroom.
Yes. I love
alarm. Yeah, buy a different one.
Buy a different alarm. Take the old school alarm. I love this so much, Peter. Like, it's going to change your game. And don't, because the problem is what happens if this is your alarm, it takes you 2 seconds. You're scrolling, a bad text, a bad stuff. And already your mind is out. So yes, put your phone away, get an old school alarm. Yes.
Make sure it's on airplane mode. My phone doesn't get turned on until 9 a.m. All right. Why? Because I live life on my terms. I'm not a walking doorbell for everybody else's issues. So when it comes to setting yourself up to win, for the morning routine, take the phone out of the equation because it's too easy. You don't leave, sweets on the floor in a playground, right? You don't put candy in Weight Watchers. Right? You don't leave whiskey bottles at outside Alcoholics Anonymous. It's like let's take away the temptation. Set yourself up to win.
I like it. I'll tell you mine after. Keep going. Yes.
So my morning routine is probably a little more established than most people. So I don't want you to compare yours to mine because mine's 2.5 hours long.
Yes.
And then most people are like, where am I going to get 2.5 hours? No. The fact that you have a morning routine, I don't care if it's 15 minutes.
Love that. Yes, yes.
Build the habit that this is time for you to work on you. Now, for me, I have various aspects of my morning routine. The first thing I do is I do a spine stretch. I just stretch the body. I hydrate with a pint to a liter of lemon water and salt. So some natural sea salt just to remineralize the body. And so a squeeze of lemon to alkalize, hydrate the water, flush out the toxins. Your body does a huge amount while you're asleep to flush out toxins and what have you, just help it along. Then I go into my meditation room, or which could be a quiet corner of your lounge, or at that time of the morning if it's up a little earlier than before the kids are awake. I do my reading, and I'm not reading Jack Reacher. I'll take novels on holiday or whatever I want to do on vacation. But in the morning, it's my spiritual learning. It's my time. A book I absolutely adore reading at the moment, The Magnificent Obsession, which is a great book. And just make sure, because there's a couple of different ones. So the author, for those people that want to have, it was written in 1929. Douglas, that was it. Lloyd C. Douglas, because there's a few that borrowed that title since then. But having a magnificent obsession, something to focus on that inspires you, that lights you up. Then we've got meditation. Meditation is a key part of sidestepping the craziness. And there is not a day goes by without another dozen studies that validate the effects physically, biochemically, neurologically, emotionally, spiritually on meditation. What is meditation? It's a vehicle, it's a tool to essentially allow you to connect with the actor who is playing the character of the movie of your life. See, in this movie, I'm playing the guy called Pete, but this movie is going to have a final scene. Probably not tomorrow, but who knows? But it'll have a final scene. Now, who I am as consciousness, that's the actor. That's behind the camera. I pick up the script. I come play the movie of Pete's life in this particular movie. But all drama, all stress, all anxiety comes from being too associated to the character and not enough connection to the actor. Yeah, all of the drama happens on set, not behind the camera. So meditation is a way where you can essentially lower the volume of the two major data channels, the physical data channel and the mental data channel. And lowering the physical data channel is easy. Yeah, turn off the lights, put on a blindfold, put on some incense, whatever, put some, you're just going to do a guided meditation if it's easier to start with. But lowering the mental channel is tougher for a lot of people, because when it's like in intimacy, if you wear a blindfold in intimacy, people do it because it amplifies the other senses. It makes it more erotic.
Yeah, that's the next month we're doing relationships, so we'll pick up from there.
Okay. Yeah, we'll leave the blindfold for them. But if you lower the data, the physical sense data, if you blindfold the body, the mind amplifies. So a lot of the people, when they go to try to quiet in a quiet room, the mind starts chattering louder. So they struggle with meditation because, again, you suppress one data stream, the other one then becomes more prominent, right? So understanding with meditation that it's not about trying to quiet the mind. If you make that what meditation is, you're going to frustrate yourself, unless you're a Zen master. But understanding it's about not processing the mental data. You're still going to hear, you're still going to have thoughts. It's not processing it. It's not getting bought into it. It's not identifying with it. Yeah.
Yes.
So a little bit of meditation, a 10-minute meditation in the morning, if that just becomes your new routine, put on a guided meditation. It's not like Dr. Joe Dispenza, or you can get 1,000 on YouTube. Yeah, Insight Time is a great app to use. It's free. You've got tens of thousands of meditations. You can search by time or benefit or and that's that. But if you want the secret weapon to the morning routine,
yes, give them.
Also the evening routine as well.
Mm-hmm.
Gratitude list.
Absolutely.
Stress and gratitude don't live in the same room. Anxiety and gratitude, are not good bedfellows. You have so much to be grateful for. And there's a distinction here. A gratitude list for a lot of people is a mental exercise. Oh, I've got to think of things to be grateful for. No. Just like meditation is a vehicle to get to, connecting with the actor rather than the character, a gratitude list is a vehicle for you to find it easy to experience gratitude. That's what counts. Writing 5 things on your gratitude list because you need to get to the end of the task is not going to help.
Or the 5 same affirmations that doesn't even align to who you are, but every single day, I am a millionaire. I am, yes.
No. So experiencing the emotion of gratitude is the outcome. So not thinking of something to be grateful for. That's the first step that can help point you in the direction of then reliving that experience or connecting to that experience. But, knowing and not doing is the same as not knowing. Right. So when we come to a place of saying, okay, what is it? If I can spend 5 minutes a morning and 5 minutes a evening just experiencing something to be grateful for. Now, I don't care what your circumstances is. I've worked with people whose partners have been shot in their arms. I've worked with people who have lost everything. I've never found somebody that hasn't been able to find something that they're grateful for. When I was in Pentonville, I would give people copies of Man's Search for Meaning from Viktor Frankl and challenge them not to cry with gratitude for being in a high security prison in the UK versus Auschwitz. There's always something to be grateful for. And gratitude is your superpower when it comes to really setting you up to win for getting a tool that can stop some of the craziness that takes people off track.
I love it. So do you want me to tell you what my morning routine is quite different from yours, but I have my phone with me in the morning because my phone is where it's what goes into my mind. And when I go on my morning runs, which I do, that's my habit. It's actually not my exercise. It's just for my mind. So I actually run and I'll go for 20 minutes and I always listen to something. So what I was listening to this morning was the Peter Sage Academy. I don't know if you've today I was listening to you this morning and you were my morning run and it was week 6 and it was understanding human behavior. So it's really funny because when I go on my runs, I used to be all about, I'd have the biggest gangster rap there was. And I was like getting into all of that. But then I would have to come home and it's after I run that I journal, because to me, and not just running, just going outside. It has to be outside, and it has to be in nature. And that's where I get it. And I get into my head, and I get into this creative space. I come home, and this is all before anybody's ever up, and I journal. And I found that by tying in, feeding my mind and moving my body, and I really go to what is just what really resonates with me is what just gets me into that space. So I'm very grateful for you. So if you don't follow Peter, I don't know what you need to follow him. And if you everything that he does, just consume it. I am so grateful for our friendship, Peter. You are a true friend, and he really speaks the talk. I know that I could literally WhatsApp you at any time. Yes, you're and you're not just present of who you are as a person to your friends, but to your community. I know you care so much, and it shows in your work so much. So, I really believe in it's just such phenomenal work. So thank you. And I'm really grateful for you.
No, likewise, back at you. And it just mirrors for each other to help other people recognize their own greatness.
Right. I'd love one last question. So for me, October is all about mindset for the community. And we've talked about the importance of a morning routine. I love that. But give me some quick tips that can just get them to shift their mindset from a place of like, all right, maybe they did their morning routine, they're at work, and then they get a wrong email. They didn't get the client that they want. Or, they go home and the relationships is not going well. Or they realize they're just really unhappy with themselves. Or they've set all of these great goals of losing weight and of eating well, but they just can't get their body to do it. And they're just stuck, and they're just not happy. So what can we give them as little tools throughout the day that allows people to just shift into their mindset and into their heart set, and just shift their state?
Questions are the steering wheel of the mind. Yeah, and questions direct focus. Most people haven't learned how to ask decent questions. Most people are very proficient at asking lousy questions. Yeah, what's wrong with me? Well, your brain is designed to find an answer. What's wrong with me? I don't know. Well, you're an idiot. Yeah, because your school teacher said you never amount to anything because your big brother was always making fun of you. Because your brain will find an answer. So why not give your brain a better question to answer? Yeah. What's great about this I've not noticed yet?
Mm-hmm.
What's the best thing I can learn?
Yeah, it's a lesson. Always. That's my go-to. What am I missing here? What am I missing here? If I'm like, something's up, and I go away, and I'm like, what am I not getting? What's the lesson? The world works for you, right? So what are we supposed to get?
No, another great question I love is, am I placing too much importance on this? The amount of excess importance we place on stuff, and you want to tattoo this on the inside of your eyes or put it on your wall. It is, you cannot overestimate the unimportance of virtually everything. Mm-hmm. We make so much mean stuff that it isn't. Oh my God, I've got to get this bill paid. Well, what if you don't pay by Friday?
Yeah.
Oh, then I'll be late for a couple of days and figure out another way. Oh, I've got to get to the meeting on time. Well, what if you're 5 minutes late? Oh, well then, we'll reschedule. We'll start slightly later. I've got to get into this college, otherwise my life's over. Is it really over, or is it the universe giving you an opportunity to be looking for something better? So remembering that we place way too much importance on something, and the best way to counter that is, and this is counterintuitive for a lot of people, it's to say, okay, what's the worst that could happen? If that happens, how would I deal with it? Well, okay, I've got a plan B. Doesn't mean say you're not focusing on plan A. I jump out of airplanes for fun. I have a reserve parachute. Okay. Now, how much importance would I place on my main chute opening if I didn't have a reserve? A lot.
It'd be important, quite important.
Yeah.
Quite an important
so
one.
I have a reserve chute, so I don't have as much importance on my main one opening because I have a backup. Well, it doesn't mean to say that I want my main chute to fail. Right? That's my intention is to open my main chute. But for a lot of people, it's like, oh, I have to have this. This outcome is like life or death. Well, no, it isn't. Let's go. What's your plan B? What's your reserve chute? And if you have a reserve chute, normally it allows you to lower the anxiety on plan A, which usually is what clears most of the obstacles out of the way, that allows you to think straight and move forward and achieve plan A. Yeah. Oh, what if my partner leaves me? Well, then, thank God they went, so they made room for somebody who's right. It's asking better questions is one of the most powerful tools you can develop. Empowering questions, not disempowering questions, which is what most people are on default. They program themselves with anti-social media, right, as to why the world doesn't work.
I love it. Peter, one last thing. How can anyone reach you? How can they get more of you? Tell me how they can get into your world?
Oh, I'm a secret. You can't find me anywhere. No, I'm all over the place. Obviously, Instagram, Peter Sage 007. You can find me on YouTube. I've got a channel there where I try to put out as much free content for people as possible. My website, petersage.com. But I'm pretty active on social, as you see. Yeah, thanks. I'm trying to play catch up with you. I'm anything I can do that can help somebody to remember their own sense of greatness, because nobody has the right to tell you you're not good enough. Nobody has the right to tell you you can't do it. And if they do, it's just their own projection. The impact can only be lasting if you choose to believe it.
I love it. And there's this book I'm reading too that you wrote that's pretty powerful too. So I'll put that in the link too. Peter, you're amazing. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much. That was so enlightening. You are phenomenal. And thank you for just shifting us back into the right mindset so that we can, manifest all the joy and the happiness in our life.
When we realize that life is a growth-centric experience, not a comfort-centric experience, we become the athlete who's happy to go to the gym, not the person that's trying to avoid the workout. We grow through challenge. We're here to grow so that we can contribute to give the best of who we are. Nature builds it in. We don't get to choose whether we grow physically or not when we're born. That's part of the rule set. So growing emotionally is a choice. But when you realize you're the athlete, you're born to take on your challenges, not run from them. You were born to go out and start being able to give your gifts to the world, not hide from it. You start to realize that we really live in an incredible time in history where we have the opportunity to go out and do things that our ancestors have been dreaming about for centuries. And how can you not get excited about that, regardless of what somebody else is doing on social?
Yes. Thank you, Peter. You're the best.
Love you, go. Speak soon.